Well, it looks like they've finally had enough of the twinkly lights and they've turned them off.
No, I did that.
Oh, you did that. Well done. Well done.
Oh.
Right, that's it. No,
I will say this about B. Nicer light. Nice 5,000K, you know. Neutral white. How hard is it? None of this blue nonsense.
Yeah, that light globe there.
I can shoot up in this room. That's what I look. That's what I need.
Is that what you're doing?
Look at those veins. You like.
I'll put my veins up against your veins.
Oh, that's it. Vein testing. This one, the nurses just freak out and say, yeah, there's nothing there. This one, I've got look at those lovelies there. They go, oh, yes, we'll do that. You've got beautiful ones.
I don't know, guys.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty
And hold
good.
on, what if I do?
My left arm's great. My right arm has nothing.
This sucker right there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that great? And right there. See that?
Yes, perfect
Right
for
there.
you there.
My wife says, I want to cannulate you. Oh, man, you got
there.
3 choices.
Yeah, I've got good.
Look at the closeness to the surface of that sweet spot.
Oh, that is
right there.
perfect.
Oh, and that was lefty. Check out righty. Righty is
look at
just
that
a
one there.
network.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
You could even do that with the other studio.
So that's probably. I could just do it by feel.
It is
shoot up
such a
in
pity
air.
we cannot have the talk, donate blood time where we can all go down and do a blood donor thing because I fainted twice and they won't let me go back.
I haven't actually
They won't let me go back. It's
donated
like,
blood in a long time.
maybe you should do that. Have all the talkers come on down.
Well,
Do
because
Red
a
Cross.
couple of times I
That'd be
went, they were like, "No, you haven't had any like tattoos or sex with men, have you?" And I've been like,
I was doing both at the same time. I mean,
about that.
Yeah.
What if? Okay, so here's my solution to Zipf's law, but not double word rule. What if a bored monk, right, had an existing text, like maybe even one of these like women's health manuals, right, one of the older ones that our friend refers to, and he basically just on a lark, sort of word for word, right, makes up a gibberish word for an existing word, right?
Okay.
Like et stays the same, let's say, or becomes and. But every other word, like lavender, is like a different nonsense word, but he's literally just like writing down random words and crossing them out of the original book, right? And then placing them in the new one, but never alongside each other.
Right.
So Zipf's law gets sort of satisfied, because all the words from one body of text is going in the next one, but all the other stuff goes out the window.
That's a really interesting idea. That would be one way where you could do it.
Never attribute malice when a bored teenager could be behind the problem.
Now, you found something that I hadn't known about. The Devil's Letter. What is this?
Now, speaking of people who might be terribly bored during their job and deciding, okay, I'm just going to play around with language, a coded letter that a 17th century Italian nun said were dictated to her by the devil himself. It has been deciphered by scientists, and at least partly deciphered. They used a code cracking algorithm after centuries of failed attempts. And you have to excuse me my pronunciation here. Sister Maria Crocifisso della Cancion from the convent of Palma di Monte Chiaro. I hope I've said that correctly. She apparently screamed and fainted after writing these letters at this convent. Said it was about Lucifer's ploy to make her serve evil instead of the good Lord. And a letter has survived. It was written in a complex mix of alphabets which have defied code breakers until researchers from the Ludlam Science Centre in Sicily created an algorithm that they discovered on the dark web.
Oh.
That sounds very mysterious.
Yeah.
There's nothing about this story that isn't hot. It's just like a sexy nun being
Dark web, nuns,
Bring it on.
Satan.
I'm looking forward to seeing, it hit Hollywood very soon. Now, the centre director, Danielle Abate from the Ludlam Science Centre in Sicily, said that apparently they heard about the software, which we believed, and this is a direct quote, is used by intelligence services for code breaking. We primed the software with ancient Greek, Arabic, the runic alphabet, and Latin to de-scramble some of the letter and show that it really is devilish. Now, apparently, Sister Maria had become very adept at linguistics during her years at the convent. I mean,
Again, nothing about this isn't hot.
And scientists believe the letter is in fact written in a language of her own invention, a mishmash of alphabets she came to know, and that's how she created it.
Sick.
Yeah.
This is way better than it being the devil. Now we've got this like polyglot, like proto-CIA nun lady just being like across a bunch of different languages being like, I'm talking in tongues. That's so cool.
And it looks really pretty as well. However, it might be also due to a condition like schizophrenia, which might have made her imagine dialogues with the devils. It hasn't stopped apparently numerous interested satanic texts contacting the centre since they published the finding, going, oh, hello, hi. There's about 15 lines of the letter that have been unpacked, and it discusses the relationship between humans, God, and Satan, apparently. Such things as, and I don't know, maybe because I'm an atheist, some of this actually makes sense to me. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are dead weights. God thinks he can free mortal. God was invented by man. This system works for no one. I mean, honestly, if I was a bored nun sitting down after having all this language ability at my fingertips, and I'm like, well, this is my life. That's it. I'm creating my own language, and I'm saying, right, here you go.
Here's
Atheism.
me spilling it all.
Oops, I've been spotted. The devil made me do it. The devil made me do it.
It sounds like Nine Inch Nails lyrics to me.
It does, for sure.
But she sounds like a very interesting character, that's for certain, being able to create this.
Did she get burned alive?
I think she did say apparently that there were other letters that she destroyed, or that she decided not to document what the messages were saying to her.
That's good for her, I think.
This is odd. You know, a nun with some serious mental issues, possessed by Satan and writing things in a strange alphabet. If I came to this as a researcher, I wouldn't say, I think that if I deciphered this, it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. That's true.
Where were the results published?
The results were... I haven't got that. Shit.
No,
you do it. Go.
Well, that's the thing. I tried looking for it too.
Okay. Yeah, same here, actually. I found a number of articles, and I found a number of YouTube sites, which is how I managed to do it.
I went to Google Scholar.
Yeah.
I went to the organization's own webpage to see if they had a publications section, and they didn't.
And there wasn't. That was another thing. So how much of
essentially,
this I'm saying is true?
What we're looking at here is a thing hot off the big book of things that might not necessarily be true.
You know, this is one of the guides. Is this published in a peer-reviewed journal, which is very public, or is it published in the Daily Mail?
It was the main hit that you can find for this is the Daily Mail, but it has managed to go viral across other websites. So
like
I
RT.
would love to find out more.
A broken clock is still right twice a day. You never know. Maybe the devil was communing through the hand of a schizophrenic nun in Italy
and
in
the
the
dark
1700s.
webs help solve it.
Yeah.
It would be lovely, but I'd like to find more facts before I get too enthusiastic about it. But one thing I do know is that the manuscript itself does look very pretty, and I'm intrigued by this tale of a nun writing down that maybe God isn't
Satan's
true.
influence. You're so aesthetically pleasing.
I can say
Just
that,
ask the Satanist. Look at all that black. It's so stylish.
I can say that God is made up, and I don't have to be a nun or possessed by the devil.
But it's not as hot if you're not doing it.
And you won't be burnt alive for creating your own language now. In fact, you probably end up on a Nine Inch Nails tour doing the liner notes for the next album.
Game of Thrones.
When can I start?
Thrones. Yeah, exactly.
You know, we always seem to couple this, good language skills with intelligence. It's just really tightly welded, because when someone shows good language fluency and good language ability and they say something clever, then we think they're really smart. Like, I always got this as a kid. I'm almost sure I said this before, but when I was a kid, everyone thought I was the smart kid. It took me 50 years to figure this out. But I wasn't the smart kid. I was just super, super verbal.
You were the articulate kid.
And everyone thought that intelligence and articulate and language skills were the same thing.
Well, then, but I mean, as well, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? Because if the entire sort of system that is designed to educate you perceives you to be the smart kid, whoa, geez, aren't you suddenly getting put in gifted classes and getting like the nice instruments and the good books and all that kind of stuff?
And that's certainly been discovered amongst gifted and talented education. You might find that you end up clumping these kids together and suddenly the bar is raised for all the kids who might not be as proficient as they could be in X or Y, but because of the cohort that they're in, it improves the opportunity.
A rising tide lifts all boats,
exactly.
Right? Kylie, I have no doubt that if you ever swallow your pride and actually start studying grammar, you'll just be like, oh my God, it's just an entire system of rules.
No, I
There's
have
rules
in the
everywhere.
past.
I love them. I love the rules.
I have in the past. And for me, it was very much like doing statistics. When I finally had the chance, okay, I want to do this for my own benefit rather than unpacking it because I had to use it. It became such a joy. I studied psychology off my own bat because I wanted to.
So what
and it became great fun.
What I'm hearing is you looked into statistics, discovered what p-hacking was, and then decided to study psychology.
It was good fun.
Is there a big old list? Is there like a linguistic teaching resource which is like a list of all of the quote unquote actually a thing grammar rules and then all of just the made up bullshit? Because I feel like that's a fun thing that we could make up, which is just like, here's all the stuff that is actually in language that linguists have been like, oh, that's interesting. All of the Romance languages put the describer after the noun. And then there's Robert Baker's nonsense.
That's a good idea. We should do that. Here are all the rules that are not a thing.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Then students could learn from it.
Daniel, what the flip is an adverb?
An adverb is, I'll give you
It's
some
a doing word, but
that's what a verb is, right?
I'll give you some
No.
examples.
Okay.
She smiled winsomely.
The example you choose to use is winsomely?
Winsomely.
God
Come
damn
on,
it.
you know this word.
Yeah.
He explained himself unconvincingly.
He growled ferociously. Whenever I taught adverbs, I would get the students to write a chapter of those really terrible Mills and Boon kind of
Right,
style
okay.
things. You know, he walked across the floor manfully. She looked at him lustfully.
Okay.
He tore his blouse off winsomely. You know,
Is there an
it was
adverb that
great.
doesn't end in ly?
Yeah, there are some.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have rather
Okay.
and you have quite.
Okay.
Things like that.
So they're modifiers of doing words.
Yeah.
yeah, but
okay.
but they can also modify adjectives and other adverbs, like when he dresses rather sloppily.
Oh, God. All right.
That's why I like to give examples rather than try to explain it deductively like that.
Unfortunately, though, the overwhelming consensus seems to be that the key to really developing good written comprehension and expression skills is meaningful, specific feedback. And what do we know about meaningful, specific feedback? 3 people in a room who all
Takes
have
a
to
lot
do
of
Takes
marking.
a
time.
long time.
Takes a lot of effort. It would take away.
I don't know. I can't speak to the
Yeah.
university example, but I got to tell you, in a high school, we're pretty time poor. Like I know everyone is listening, being like, mate, you knock off at 3:30. Like, take it easy. But if you've got 40, 50 essays to try and smash out in a weekend, like there's only so much meaningful feedback you can attribute to each one of those.
It's true.
And then if you have a system which says, oh, we should make the classes larger, we should give you more classes, teaching's a vocation, you love to do this, you're meant to teach, which means we can make you do all this extra work and not pay you and not give you the time for it. That's unfortunately not unusual.
Now, I will say this. WA's got the pay thing right. I'm going to stick my hands in the air and be like, teachers get paid fine in WA. The rest of Australia, oh, shit, no. Like, I would not want to be a teacher in Victoria. But all the other stuff Kylie mentioned, absolutely, right? Like time, teaching load, all that kind of stuff. It's not like it can't be done. It can be done, but you have to give, right? Like there's only so much you can, it's a zero-sum equation. And so unfortunately, the thing that tends to get missed out is feedback. Meaningful feedback is perishingly rare in a lot of high school settings.
Yeah, and this is where peer tutoring and peer mentoring can come in very useful too. You can end up having older students, for example, helping younger students or even students within the class. Rather than having all the students in a row, start putting those tables into groups and start having them network and help each other's work. That's something I've found extremely valuable.
I have had the great privilege of actually being inside the eye of a cyclone.
When were you in the eye of a cyclone?
We were, I was working at a pearl farm when I was like 14 or 15 up off Point Sampson in Western Australia. And a cyclone was coming in and we had time to get from the island that we were on to Point Sampson town, but we didn't have time to get any further than that. So we...
You had to bunker down, as it were?
Well, we did, but we bunkered down in the former Bureau of Meteorology facility there, which unsurprisingly is built to withstand severe tropical cyclones. And so we just, through sheer hapstance, the eye just passed directly over us. So after like the winds dying down, we all kind of went outside and we got to see this insane, like, because you could see both ends of the eye from where you were standing. So you just saw these huge, like, the wall style walls of cloud just rising straight from the ground in this huge circle.
Oh,
and then the next one started slowly encroaching in, so we all went back inside.
Time to go back inside now.
I want to experience a downburst. I also want to experience a full solar eclipse. I've ticked off the eye of a cyclone, all right? So I need some cool stuff to, like, put on my list.
Haven't you lived enough, man? Haven't you lived enough? Bloody hell.
Only so much that one man can live.
That's not what they said to, Sir Francis Richard Burton. Have you never read this guy's Wikipedia page?
No.
I didn't check him out.
Is he the guy with the
Francis.
is he the guy with the penguin?
No, hold
Richard.
on. I'm gonna read
He's
this
a
out. Right?
Burton, so it's pretty much, all cards on the table with a Burton.
Gone for a Burton.
It's in, bloody married Elizabeth Taylor and God knows
All
what
right,
else.
so Richard Francis Burton. Listen to this first paragraph. Sir Richard Francis Burton, KCMG, FRGS, was an English explorer, geographer, translator, writer, soldier, orientalist, cartographer, ethnologist, spy, linguist, poet, fencer, and diplomat. He was famed for his travels and explorations in Asia, Africa, and the Americas, as well as his extraordinary knowledge of languages and cultures. According to one count, he spoke 29 European, Asian, and African languages.
Well, I'm impressed.
Second, if that's paragraph
Really
one.
bad halitosis, stinky feet,
Yeah.
just to make us feel better about ourselves.
Burton's best-known achievements include a well-documented journey to Mecca in disguise at a
Oh.
time when Europeans were forbidden from accessing,
That guy.
an expurgated translation of 1001 Nights, an early translation of Anthony Gollard's French version, the publication of the Kama Sutra in English, a journey with John Hanning Speke as the first European to visit the Great Lakes of Africa in search of the source of the Nile. Fuck this guy, man. He is nuts.
Oh, screw that. Isabel, Lady Burton, wife and partner of Explorer, frickin' came along too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You go.
I guess there were fewer people then, so everybody had to do more.
Burton defied many aspects of the pervasive British ethnocentrism of his day, relishing personal contact with human cultures in all their variety. His works and letters extensively criticised colonial policies of the British Empire, even to the detriment of his career. Although his university education aborted, he became a prolific and erudite author and wrote numerous books and scholarly articles about subjects including human behaviour, travel, falconry, fencing, sexual practices, and ethnography.
Sometimes at the same time.
Yeah. Often, I would imagine.
I'm looking forward to getting a copy of Lady Burton's edition of her husband's Arabian Nights, translated literally from the Arabic by Sir
Have you
Richard
seen
Francis
the photo
Burton.
of him? Look at that mustache. Look at it. Does that not look like the photo that perfectly exists as that man, as described?
Formidable.